Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ShadowZone Paratalk. It is Saturday night, Cass. It's a wonderful night.
It's a wonderful morning. It's backwards because it's really nighttime.
You have popsicles in your freezer?
I do.
Very,
Oh, wait.
Fantastic.
very nice, Cass. That was a beautiful song, buddy.
I'm sorry. I'll try to do worse.
And of course, I'm going to be spouting out, different song titles throughout the night just to make you sing some more.
You bastard.
But guys, we have a banging show tonight. We have one of my favorite paranormal teams. They are new. They are on the rise. They are Corey and Melissa from Forget Me Not Paranormal. These guys are one of my true homies in the paranormal world. They are definitely paranormal family for sure. And also we're going to be joined by Eldon, who's usually my co-host, but I'm stuck with this dingling.
Sorry, everyone.
They will be on site tonight at an investigation filming for an upcoming show we're putting together. They are in Oracle, Arizona at the TB Hospital. And man, they've got two different buildings, a cemetery, a huge grounds to cover, and they'll be popping in periodically throughout the night. And
Now, that's the tuberculosis hospital or the turkey brains hospital?
no, it's the tuberculosis. The Turkey Branch Hospital is further down in Arizona.
That's next week.
That's next week, yeah. Well, without any further ado, y'all, let's see if we can catch them in a blooper, maybe picking their nose or some big burp or something to embarrass them. No? Okay, well, hell, why not? Let's just add them to the stream.
Hey,
What's up, guys?
Hello.
I have to go back.
So, how's everything going, guys?
It's been pretty wild. I don't know. It's we're kind of expanding our haunted objects collection, so which is mainly Missy's thing. So you want to talk about a couple of those?
Sure. Well, we are trying some haunted dolls, and then we did our very first one though was a religious icon of Jesus that we got from a man in Florida. He told us that he was having candles that were lighting on by themselves, and he was seeing a hooded figure in his house. And he kept kind of talking about it on YouTube and wanting to get rid of it and find someone to take it. And then eventually the price came down pretty low. So I was like, all right, let's try it. And so he was very happy to get that to us. And so now we're trying to investigate him. We have him in a storage unit right now, and he's very angry.
He's not happy now.
But yeah, so that's kind of where we're branching off into those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then doing our investigations and talking with the people that come into our apartment, which happen to be quite a few all the time. So getting used to that.
So other than that, it's just been life and kids and stuff, usual stuff. It's just kind of fitting that in as a little spice of life kind of thing. It's kind of cool.
Right. So, do you guys have?
Cooler must be interesting.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any of the haunted items you possess in your house at this point?
We do.
One. Yeah.
We have one doll. We're working with her right now, and we have 3 more coming. And so they're all from the same seller who he said he inherited almost a house full of items from his aunt, his great aunt.
His great aunt, his mom's.
And so he's been slowly kind of going through them and getting rid of different ones because he's just had a baby and he doesn't want to have all of them. So we've kind of taken different ones from his group and kind of putting them together. And the funny thing is we were doing an opening today with the one we have, and she was channeling or somehow connecting with the one that's in the storage unit
because they were in the same house.
because they knew each other, and so it was fascinating to watch them talk with each other and to us. And
How do you know they were talking to each other? Are you guys psychic?
We are not. I mean, not physical mediums. We have sensitivities, but I mean, nothing that we can channel things like that. The primary way we knew was from GhostTube and the other apps that we were doing. The things that they were saying kind of matched some other investigations we had done with the doll, Tabitha, that's in the storage unit. And we're matching up with what the psychic who had read the doll we have at the house was saying about her, what had said about her. So it was kind of a mismatch of those things, but once you started seeing it put together, it made sense that she was talking about or channeling what the other doll may have been feeling being in the
she said she was here too.
Yeah,
she was loosely tied and was coming into the home, but she couldn't stay because she wasn't in her vessel's not in the home.
Right.
So I'm hearing scientific method, and I like those two words put together.
Right.
So my question is when buying these dolls, are you taking the people for their word that they're haunted, or are they proving it to you, or are you researching it, or how are you going about proving that the dolls are actually haunted?
That's a good question, because I'm of the opinion, don't take anybody for their word. Right?
Exactly.
Good.
But and you can be swindled. I mean, because there's no way to fully verify something like that. But what we do is we know a psychic that we feel is pretty reputable, and we take the photographs and have the photographs sent to that psychic to have it read ourselves, and compare it to the information that we're given about the item. And then if we feel comfortable buying it, which we rely a lot on Missy's intuition with that, she has a certain sensitivity to that. We then do an investigation and see, and it's not just through the apps. We'll use any kind of analog thing to see if there's any activity around it, and we reserve judgment until we really have done a few, because when you open up, it isn't always the entity that's attached to the item that'll speak. We'll get all kinds of people who will, and we have to kind of weed through that to see what we have. Not always is it the case. I mean, sometimes people just put crap out there, right? But so far we've been lucky with this particular seller that most of what at least what we've been able to verify, most of what he said about the objects have been fairly accurate. I mean, there's going to be some variation. When you're talking about spirits, they can even kind of skew the information themselves, but most of it has jived together. So it's not an exact science, but you do want to verify as much as you possibly can.
And what's nice is we have our grandparents that are kind of following along, that they've passed, but they have kind of followed along with us on this, and so they'll let us know they're there, what they think of the item. And so we get kind of different spirits kind of chiming in on what's happening and what they feel.
Right.
And then spirits that have kind of come with us from some of the different and they chime in too. It's a whole little conversation.
Yeah.
That is fascinating. And, I got to say, good sir, very nicely done on making sure you're doing your research and doing field tests and making sure, everything is on the up and up as much as you can before you buy that doll.
Right.
Because I could take my shoe right now and say it's possessed by a guy that got hit by a car in 1958, and it's just really my old sneaker that I am desperately willing to get rid of and want to make a little money off it.
Right. Yeah, you have unreputable people all over the place. I mean, in the industry, and in paranormal investigation, there's our fair share of it. Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But But there's quite a few of us, and I think that things like these podcasts where we get to kind of bounce off of each other, where we talk about what our method is and the legitimacy of those processes, which there is a set amount or a set script to use to make it legitimate. Missy and I, when we do our investigations, we don't monkey with anything. If we get nothing, we get nothing, and we're okay with that. But it's just raw what we get, and whoever wants to kind of get judgment from that or whatever they feel about that is however they feel. But I mean, everything that we do is as organic as possible.
Oh yeah, you see the kids interrupting and
It's all kinds
You
of stuff.
see, that's the one thing I love about you guys. Is this is my first time meeting you there, Haas. Which I'm gonna start calling you Haas because of the facial hair, which I absolutely love. But the first time that I did a podcast with Melissa, it was when we first started doing the podcast, and it was known as Spokane Ghost Talk. And I was still with the Spokane Ghost crew at the time. And there was just something about her, the way she brought herself, and her attitude, her answers, it just instantly went off on me, because I'm somewhat of a sensitive myself. I can read people like a book. Like, I can tell you within the first 5 minutes of talking to you whether or not I should walk away because you're nothing but trouble, or that you're a good-hearted person and I either want or need to be around you. And within the first 5 minutes of reading Melissa, I instantly knew that there was something special about her. And that's why I offered all the help with building the Facebook group page and spreading you guys around like wildfire, because I knew something special was going to come of Forget Me Not Paranormal.
Well, yeah, Brian, we really appreciated that, because that really put us out there to have that, because our goal is eventually for people in our area who are having issues with hauntings or paranormal activity to call for help. Which, again, just like what the co-host was saying, that Cass, that we don't charge. We don't believe in charging for this. It's a service to people. Gone through hauntings when I was a kid. How much I wish there was someone who was out there who would help and just listen and believe what I was experiencing. Like, that's kind of what our goal is. And so Brian, setting up the Facebook page, I think it's really helped to make us more visible and to gain that legitimacy to where people feel comfortable maybe calling us at some point. And that's really what what we're working toward is doing some sort to assist people who are going through things like that.
Well, there, Haas and Melissa, before I get into the next subject, I'm going to get into, you guys sent me a very special video via YouTube. And let me tell you what, it completely warmed my heart to see what that little youngster pulled out of that box. The fact that you guys used the custom logo I made you, and the fact that you went a step further and put it on your merchandise, I want to let you guys know that meant the world to me.
No, it was awesome. It's on my car too.
That is like the ultimate form of like respect and gratitude, if you will.
No, we appreciate
it. We do really appreciate it, Ryan. And your podcast is awesome, by the way. I love what you guys do.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you guys the what I call the tricks of getting people to call you for their activity. Okay, when we first started, we got lucky enough that our first 2 investigations, one was a friend of mine, That was the J&R house. And the second one was a girl that one of my teammates was trying to date. So we had the 6-month time period from us investigating the J&R house, and about the 1.5 to 2 month time period we spent investigating our second to come up with ideas on how to get more clientele. Now, see, what you want to do is you want to find your grocery stores, okay, that have the bulletin board that you can put flyers on and stuff. And you want to make yourself flyers. And you go out and you put them at every one of these stores. And then from there, I mean, you can even put flyers in your recreational marijuana shops. Anywhere that you can put flyers, you want to put them.
Okay.
And then you want to find your gas stations or your little rink-a-dink, grocery stores, that aren't so big like Safeway or Walmart or anything like that. And then you want to get yourself some business cards. And you start dropping 20, 25 business cards at all these little different shops around your town. And it doesn't have to be grocery stores. It can be any little shop that'll let you drop some business cards off. And then, you just start randomly striking up conversations with people, Say you're at the grocery store, hey, how you doing? Oh, good. How about you? Oh, getting ready to go over some evidence. I'm a paranormal investigator with Forget Me Not Paranormal. Really? Well, that's freaking cool, I know this, and this. And I know these people that are dealing. Really? Well, I'll tell you what. Here's my business card. It's got my Facebook on there, my YouTube on there, my email, my phone number. Tell them to get a hold of me. We're 100% free of charge.
Yeah. Some face that would, getting out there. There's some metaphysical stores downtown and things like that we're thinking about hitting up here soon.
Well, and you see, what you do is the blessing of Google. Search by genre of stores that you want to hit. And instead of wasting your gas and your time driving and talking, all you got to do is pick up the phone and dial them and be like, hey, I'm with, Forget Me Not Paranormal. We're a newer team. We want to get the word out there. Could we possibly come and drop off, 20, 25 business cards?
Right. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it is actually.
Your head shops are a good place. Your recreational marijuana shops are a good place. Like I said, the little mom and pop grocery stores. Even try the bigger grocery stores.
Right.
Your supermarkets that you can hang a card or a flyer on. I mean, just random stuff like that. And just through the random conversations, because you guys are going to have to turn into social butterflies.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be willing to talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere to get your word out. I used to be a very reserved person. I used to work customer service and I hated talking to people. But when I realized that in order to get the word out, instead of relying on my flyers and business cards, I'm going to have to reach deep down inside, and I'm going to actually have to physically have conversations with people.
Yeah.
And once you do that, even if they say, oh, that shit's fake, I don't believe in any of it. Well, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go to their friends or family. Yeah, I just met this fake ass paranormal team called Forget Me Not. What a joke. But guess what they just did?
Spread it.
Spread the word. Yeah.
They spread your name.
Show me, girl.
And people that don't believe in it are going to spread it to 2 to 5 other people. People that do believe in it and are excited about it, dude, they're going to show your business card to friends, to family. That's going to be their holy fucking grail.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to spread like wildfire.
It would be. I mean, we really lack a lot of paranormal investigative teams here in the valley. We just don't have many of them.
People don't.
That's true.
Yeah.
Given the climate and the culture of the valley, it's
Yeah.
difficult. You know?
I don't want to talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Here is another good tip you guys might enjoy. And be ready to be on camera, by the way. Calling your local news stations.
Yeah.
And what you do with this is you find a good investigation. You know, maybe a known haunted cemetery, you know, a residential that you've been to before that's super haunted, and they allow you to do that. A commercial building that is super haunted, and they allow you to do that. And what you do is once you get the permission, you always get the permission first. But then you call them up and you say, hey, you know, I'm looking to talk to a reporter. They get you to the reporter and you tell them, hey, you know, my name is Haas and Melissa, and we're with Forget Me Not Paranormal, you know, and we're trying to get our name out there and get the word out there that there is somebody to help people with their activity when need be, and we're free of charge. What would you guys think of coming and doing an investigation with us and maybe airing it on the news?
That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
I know in Halloween month they really start doing that.
Yeah, they start doing some of that. So we thought about reaching out to them and seeing some of these more.
Well, you see, it doesn't have to be just Halloween, though.
Right.
Like when we did our segment, it was during our first investigation, the J&R house, and we called them up and we said to the first person, hey, you know, this is Brian, lead investigator of the Spokane Ghost Crew, and we were wondering if you guys would be interested in covering a paranormal investigation with us. And, you know, they said, oh, yeah, you know, we'll pass it on to the reporters and see if anybody wants to cover it. We were like, oh, shit, that's a guaranteed no. So, you know, well, here's our phone number, our Facebook site, you know, come check us out. And about a week later, we get a call from a guy named Rashad. Oh, yeah, well, I'm with Creme 2 News. You know, I want to come down and interview you guys.
That's cool.
So he comes down and we actually meet at the J&R house, and he's got his camera dude with him. And we're walking around stating, you know, what exactly has happened where, while his camera guy is filming. And he's pretty much doing this shoot right there. And, you know, after the interview, we get a phone call back the next day, you know, hey, it's Rashad again. What would you guys think about coming in studio and talking about this investigation? And my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, are you guys serious right now? Or are you ribbing me? They're like, no, we're serious. Be down here at 5 o'clock in the morning. You're on the morning show tomorrow morning. And we're like, hell yeah. So it was me and my co-founder Rick, and we got the bright idea that instead of sleeping at a decent hour like normal people would, we were afraid we wouldn't wake up in time and miss our opportunity. So we pounded a shit ton of energy drinks, stayed up all night studying and playing video games and doing anything we could to keep our eyeballs open. We get to the studio, nobody's answering the doors. So it's like 5:45 before we finally get in. And, we don't have our shirts yet or anything. So Rick's wearing a Royal Rumble t-shirt. I'm wearing a black hoodie. And by the time they call us on, he's pretty much doing the Linus dance. And I'm pretty much looking camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2.
Oh my
And before we were on, they played the interview that we did with Rashad.
God.
And that was our first initial taste of being on TV.
That's cool. That's right.
And we asked them specifically, we said, please do not play the Ghostbusters theme
Oh my god.
at any time on this interview, please. And what do? They don't play just the song. They play the fucking music video to go with it.
Oh my gosh.
And we don't know this until we get home. And my sister had recorded it on a phone watching the TV. And oh my God, I was so mad. But, and another good way is, do you guys have like newspapers that are kind of like magazines in a way too?
Yeah, there are a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like apartment.
We call, like, what we have up here, it's called the Inlander.
Mhm.
And it talks about, specific articles, and then it's got, it's places where you can advertise and other things like that. And so hitting them up and seeing if they would be interested in doing an investigation with you guys and an interview would be a good way about going and getting you guys some exposure as well.
That's
Yeah.
a really good idea.
It's cool, yeah. Similar to that.
Cass,
Speaking of exposure, could I ask him a question about some stuff?
I'm going to kick your ass if you're the one that changed that name.
I was looking at
Whoa.
that, sorry.
I didn't do that. I don't even know how. So, in my line of work, what you guys have described earlier is a little bit like sticking your junk in a gopher hole and hoping there isn't a rattlesnake in it. Aren't you guys worried at all about like bringing something dangerous into your home?
Yeah, I mean, that is a concern, and that's one of the reasons why we got this outside location to store these items until we feel a little more comfortable with that. Now, with the one item that we did bring home, the verification we kind of got from it was that the spirit attached to it was a younger girl. Originally, we've gotten the age 7. We've also gotten the age 14, anything in between. And she was she had developmental issues,
Yeah.
and she had a physical issue with her arms
That was
and
the
legs.
other one, but yeah.
No, this one had a learning disability. So the individual we spoke to who owned him, along with the stories that his great aunt had told, was that she was just a really sweet spirit who it's a music box, so periodically she would play. She would always help him find things, right, and things like that. So when we had her read, it was a very similar story that the psychic kind of played with it. So when we brought her in, we thought, okay, well, we'll kind of take a risk with this one because we're not getting any bad vibes from it. And then when we did our investigation with it, it was a very similar story. It wasn't anything too eerie about it. The other 2 items we don't even take them out of the box. When we get them, they stay in the box. They go in our car. Our car is saged. We take it to the storage unit. We salt the storage unit, sage, and bless it. It's just it only comes out of the box in the storage unit.
So you
Right.
do practice. You do
We do,
practice something.
yes.
Okay, I knew I smelled it on you, sir. Har.
All right,
I
Haas
don't
and
have a hook hand,
Melissa, I have to ask you a very serious question, and it's kind of a question slash favor.
Okay.
Okay, do you guys have K2 meters or any EMF detectors that are available to you right now, like right beside you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, let me grab one.
Okay,
It's in that.
now
Is
this
that
is
one of the
just
things-
part one of the two-part question slash favor.
Okay.
We'll wait for Haas Chaplin here to get back.
That middle pocket. The middle pocket. We have
Come
one
on,
back.
Haas, hurry up. You're burning time here, buddy. I'm going to make Cass start singing if you don't hurry.
I will sing the Ghostbusters. Don't make me do it.
Oh.
Okay, now the second thing is the favor.
Okay.
The favor I'm going to ask you is can you guys possibly grab the haunted doll that you have
Yeah.
and place the camera to where it's on her or him
Oh, I see where you're going.
down, and then we'll go from there.
All right, I'm gonna grab her.
We'll get Henrietta.
Henrietta.
Okay, so Henrietta, is she a talkative
We just
spirit?
got today, so
Well, here's what we're gonna do. What I'm about to do is have a interview with your haunted doll by using the K2 meter. I'm going to ask your doll and have you guys as well ask your dolls a series of questions,
There she is.
and we're going to see if the doll will light up the K2 meter to answer these questions.
Okay, sure.
Are you guys okay with this?
Absolutely, yeah. She seems to be okay with it too.
Is that one of the machines that talks
This is
to you?
her. She's very sweet. I need to repair her other shoe.
He's
but-
been sewing her shoes for
Yeah,
her.
I've been.
Nice. Okay, so to start it off, let's do a K2 sweep around the doll just to see what we pick up for EMF.
That'd be pretty green.
Yeah. there's-
Sorry, I'm looking at it this way. Okay, there we go. Little back.
Now, if nothing happens during this little experiment, that does not mean that your doll is not haunted. I'm not trying to disprove or prove anything. I just want to see if she'll communicate with us.
Sure.
And, if she doesn't, then obviously she's either shy or just says, F you, I don't want nothing to do with your ugly ass.
Right. Yeah, you
Which
never
I'm used
know.
to getting that, I was rejected for years by women before my wife, so that's all good. All right, so you guys go ahead and start it off, introduce her, and then you guys ask the first question, and
Sure.
you're on solo layout.
Sure. So everyone, this is, so far as we know, the name that we got this afternoon was Henrietta Thompson. This is she is a doll from at least the 1960s, if not later. She does play Dr. Zhivago on it, which she will periodically kind of make happen. From what we only had her a day. She has a very sweet energy to her. But Henrietta, if you can hear me, if you're willing to talk, I know you're very shy, would you be willing, just like you did earlier, to touch that K2 meter and make the lights go for me?
If you want to.
It's if you want to.
Don't worry, I won't bite.
Henrietta, can you hear us?
She seems nervous.
Yeah, she is
Yeah.
a little shy. It took her a while to warm up to us a little bit. Like I said, she's only been here for a
She
day.
said she wasn't happy the first.
Yeah,
We
she
got
said
her yesterday.
right. Henrietta, can you still hear us?
Maybe as well. Pull up if you have the Ghost Tube app or the Necrophonic and see if she'll speak with us through that as well.
I think she likes the ghost tube here. Let's see. We do have that pulled up. What did she say? We got something here.
You have to turn it up.
Yeah.
Henrietta, if you're happy
Healthy.
with, okay, well, happy and healthy go hand in hand. If you're happy with being there, can you say on the Ghost Tube app or light it up on the K2 meter?
Yeah, sorry. Trying to see where I'm doing this. There. Okay.
We're not here to harm you or anything like that. We're just here to communicate with you.
Sam. Oh, this is Sam. Sometimes we get different people that come in.
If everyone else could let Henrietta just talk at the moment, that would be great.
And we'll give you a chance.
I'll give
after.
you a chance. Henrietta, are you still here with us? She's shy, yeah. Henrietta, can you hear me?
You're doing our music.
Yeah, well, that could be just me hitting it. Though.
Henrietta, if you are an older spirit, can you light up the K2 meter?
Henrietta, do you remember how to do it? You just, all you have to do is...
Box.
The box.
Yeah, you could light up the box if you want to. I know.
You know, Henrietta, you're pretty smart.
Bye.
What did it say?
She said
Goodbye.
goodbye.
What was last name?
Nancy.
Nancy. Thank you for contacting us, Nancy. We're just trying to reach Henrietta at the moment.
So do you guys actually have a spirit in your house named Nancy?
Yeah, they come through the portal. We have a portal nearby that we've been told, and we get all kinds of different people all the time.
It's a pretty
active. Like
place.
we've got captured the top of it looked like a silver thing
top of the head, yeah.
coming by the fence line as we were opening.
Big investigation. We've also had a weird shadow thing that came across you that was coming through our pantry.
That's Top Hat Man.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's been banished and not allowed to come into our home, but he still tries. Yeah. Father.
I'm not sure if that's her or not.
Does one of you does one of us remind you of your father, Henrietta?
Cold.
She asked if she was ghost and cold.
How does it work?
How does it work? Well, you fluctuate the electromagnetic field, and that has a word value, just as you've been using it here.
I don't know.
Sorry, come on.
You still there? I think she did too.
She's sleeping? Hi. Well, 30, come on.
Is there anyone else here who wanted to speak earlier? More. There's more. Okay.
All right, guys, if we can pause for just 1 second. I believe we have Eldon, can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine, man. And, you know, I've kind of been backstage watching what you guys have been doing. And whoever you guys are communicating with are actually reacting to our devices here on our investigation.
Oh, are they really?
I've actually got video of it. Somebody was asking. I'm just going to, take a guess here, but I've got a K2 here that's just been going wild. Is somebody playing with a K2 somewhere? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
I've got a K2 here that's just been going just nuts.
wow.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's
You know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to sync up the times and we're going to check so that everybody can know.
Yeah.
Because I believe you, Eldon.
yeah. I'm backstage and kind of I was doing an EVP session here while I was backstage, and just K2 just at random started going off. I've actually been dealing with a EDI plus is what I've been dealing with here, and all of a sudden the K2 just starts going nutsoid.
Wow.
Well, maybe she liked your box better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the millimeter here, I don't know if you can read that or not, but it's been getting some crazy readings
yeah.
too.
That is cool. I love your equipment.
Yeah,
that is
that's awesome.
really cool.
Oh, thanks, man. So, but I figured I'd share that with you guys here in the podcast and let you know what's happening on this end. So whatever you guys are doing, something either on this end or your end is responding using the equipment on our end.
Well, that's cool. That's really amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kinda
we've
cool.
had.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, that is. Sometimes it won't happen here,
Mhm.
but I don't know what if it's something to do with the internet or something. They can transfer
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know
It has
how
to
that
do with
works.
HD. It has to do with the physics of how HD cams work. I can actually explain all that part to you.
Oh,
okay.
well, there you go. 'Cause-
Yeah, your
All right,
species
guys.
is sort of accidentally trailed into the ability to transmit light via these devices. Now the thing is what as you guys are demonstrating for the audience right now, a lot of what these devices use is non-visible light. And that's why you can't see ghosts. The thing is though, is these HD. I think ever since around about the rollout of 3G, these HD communication devices can transmit this non-visible light. You know what I mean? So we're getting to a very, very interesting point now. So yeah,
That is really cool.
Okay, guys. Well, pardon my interruption there. I didn't.
No, hey, awesome.
So-
Yeah.
All right, so I'll be backstage here, kind of peeking in on you guys.
All right.
Yeah.
So
can I have a turn? Maybe she might respond to me.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, is there any way you can mute your muke? That would be gross.
got it. I'm muting.
Okay.
Does he still want ghosts too?
Yeah, we can use it.
Henrietta, right?
Henrietta, as much as we understand. Yeah.
Scratch.
Okay.
Scratch is one.
I wouldn't. If everyone else could kindly shut your holes and let Henrietta speak. She's a little shy. Henrietta, it's okay, honey. What's on your mind? No, I'm not going to scratch. She says there's somebody in the back. I'm not psychic. What I do is a little different. She says that you guys have a dark spirit that's giving her shit.
Yes.
She's been talking about that
Good.
all day.
Yes.
Yeah.
She talked about that earlier today.
Okay. All right, motherfucker. Here's how it goes. You're going to leave the child spirit alone or it's your ass. Y'all can see who I am.
Clean.
Don't make me scratch.
Clean, she says.
Good. We, my people, do not suffer harm to children, live or dead.
Yeah, he's a shapeshifter, we were told.
Good. That'll be extra fun.
Well, it's interesting you said that because that's the entity we've been having the most trouble with.
And he silences them that come in to try to talk. He scares them. I've seen him twice. My kid's seen him. He will move things, and we've tried a lot of stuff to get him to stop.
But they're all very intense.
Michael the icon.
That's the. So
That's our.
Yeah, you better. Okay,
Yeah.
so as my gamer people would say, player 2 has entered the ring.
Yes. Yes. Flight. This is getting interesting because that's the first time we've ever gotten Michael the icon.
Michael the icon. That's the one that's in the storage unit that said his name was Michael.
That's what.
But he
so that's
doesn't
what we
want to
call him.
talk, and he's very angry.
Right. And that everyone who's read.
Jerry.
I don't know who Jerry is.
Hello, Jerry. But yeah, no, that's
Torturer.
torturer. I think that's in reference to Michael the Icon.
And our one doll is in there with him because we weren't sure if she was negative or positive. So that's the one I think's been trying to reach out.
Right. Doesn't want to be in there with him
Be
anymore.
quiet.
Wow. Aren't you a commanding little devil?
I think she has something important to say.
Yeah.
Well, speak your piece or come and make me be quiet. One of the two.
I'm not man enough to do that, so I'm just gonna bow out.
Shut up, Cass.
Yes, sir.
Come on. Come communicate with me.
Henrietta, is there anything else you'd like to say? You don't have to worry about Michael the Icon. He can't come here. Benjamin.
I'll be back.
Is that the name of someone or someone who was attacked?
Megan.
Megan. I think we're getting
Is your real name Megan? If so, can you say yes on the box or light up the K2?
Please.
Please.
Please what, honey?
Apologize.
What am I apologizing
I
for?
don't know. She's apologizing for something.
Or what are you apologizing for?
Michael, are you apologizing for scaring Henrietta?
You can't jump. We're not doing jump.
What did it say?
Jump.
Jump?
Hmm.
So you apologize for jump. That you apologize for haunting? That could make a little more sense.
Yeah, it seems like she's
Pagan.
pagan.
That's the second time we got pagan.
Yeah. She said that too.
Leave it.
Leave it. Is there something you're comfortable with, Henrietta?
Pagan and leave it.
She
Leave it
said it twice.
second
Leave
time.
it. Yeah.
Okay, Henrietta.
Okay, well, I happen to be a paranormal investigator who has been haunted before, and I am Wiccan pagan. And then leave it. I don't know about that one.
I don't. Something she's uncomfortable with. Takes a while. People don't have their conversations, and just like with a person, you have to kind of ease into it sometimes. And
Exactly. You have to warm up to them.
It's February 12th, 2022.
she asked us what date it was.
Spirit.
Yeah.
Spirit.
There's probably a lot of spirits right now.
Who?
Well, we're talking to one.
Can you say my name, young one?
The name's right there.
Come on, sweetheart. You can do it.
Train accident. This is Tabitha. This is the doll that's in the storage unit with Michael, the icon. And I think she's been trying to tell us that we need to get her out of there.
Because
So
she
that's what you.
died in a train accident.
Oh, she might be claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And what is this doll's name?
Her name is Tabitha. The reason we put her in the storage unit was she had been known to blow out light bulbs, according to the other owner, and that she was kind of angry. So we weren't really sure what she was, and we didn't want to bring her in until we kind of had a little more information.
Yeah.
But we've been getting a lot of her
Bible.
But yes, we do have a Bible. We've been getting a lot of information from her coming through here, but she'll say chains, like she's tied to the vessel,
Right.
But she says all the things that make it seem like it's her that's trying to let us know.
Well,
so it must be that
let's find out. Tabitha, if you're the one talking through this spirit box, let us know. Do something to one of us to show your presence.
Master Deepak G.
That's Deepak. Sorry, that's another spirit. We met him at a cemetery. He's a Hindu astrologer who died in a car accident in 2017. And he's been following us every time we open up to talk to the haunted items. He used to have a radio station, a Facebook page.
Yeah.
It was a horrible car accident. About 6 people died. And we met him at one of the cemeteries that we go to. So he's
Was
been
he
kind of
Vedic? Vedic Hindu?
Yes. Pardoned.
It's not your fault, Deepak.
No. He
Now,
feels like
is his name actually Deepak?
Deepak.
Deepak G.
Deepak G was his
Master
Deepak G. He came from a line of gurus from
Actually, what the ghost app is saying right now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's he has a certain call sign we put in there for him. And we had been going to Delray Cemetery in the middle of nowhere. We've been going there for a while. I think we did like 5 or 6 different investigations there, and we kept getting this story about a car accident, and we couldn't figure it out what that was attached to because there was no car accident nearby the cemetery. Until he said one day we were out there, he seemed very frustrated. Mm-hmm. It was always the same thing about a car accident.
Frustrated.
Yes, he was frustrated. That he said the name Karma is a call sign.
We're like, oh, we know you.
Yeah, but then he told you the name of one of the men who died.
Yeah.
But he said it in the way that the newspaper had gotten it wrong. So it was that his car had boat. Pain. Yeah. That's usually Deepak. So his car hit a semi truck, and the car that he was in with 4 other. It was
4 other guys.
Yeah, it was 5 total. Hit this truck, flipped, and blew up. And the driver of the truck wound up in intensive care. Mm-hmm. And it happened 30 minutes away from where this thing is. So that's why it never
He said real.
Real. Yeah. So what was the name he gave?
He gave Wayne.
And that's what the newspaper had mislabeled Ruth. Yeah. The newspaper had mislabeled the truck driver's name as Wayne, but his name was actually Lane.
Yeah.
And he passed away also in the hospital. And so Deepak has come through to us a lot, giving tidbits of information about his son and his nephew and some other things. So we're kind of loath to give out his last name because we're not sure if his living relatives would be okay with it, but we're planning on maybe contacting them and seeing if they're okay with releasing more of his story. But he's given us a lot of very specific details of his
life. Has Deepak ever mentioned something about CD?
About what?
CD. The word CD.
No, not
yet. No, okay. He has mentioned astrology. That was kind of the base of his what he did
for quiet.
Okay.
Well, now's your chance, bro. Say something.
My question is...
Not you, I mean him, but yeah, you go.
Do you guys have any EVPs or anything besides the ghost app of you communicating with Deepak?
Yeah, we actually used a spirit box on one of the last investigations, and I asked the question, I said, is this easier to use? Because all of a sudden this kind of went quiet and the spirit box
was going. S-box.
The S-box. And you hear him say, what was it? A bit. And I heard that and I went, oh! And then I went back to his YouTube and it says Indian accent. Yeah, and I was like, that's him. And I had the kids listen to it. And so you could verify it with his YouTube. It says Europe. And Poke. But I was like, that's him. Like it was absolutely, that was him. Yeah.
Now, one of the things I'd like to get is an actual EVP of him. He hasn't quite used that yet. We get a lot of other spirits who use the microphone on our camera. And we review that. We get a lot of those, but I don't think we've been able to identify any of those directly with him yet. It's just been that one with the S-box that was his very distinct accent that was on there. So But
Now,
hopefully-
with me, I have a hard time with the phone apps. You know, the phone apps can record your conversations. The phone can record what you're talking about, record any information. And the Ghost app is pretty much like a obelisk, right?
Yeah, it is. Yes, this is my phone.
Stop.
You want me to stop? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this.
Okay, so like with the obelisk, it is said that spirits can go into the dictionary of words and choose a word to either help or say to you to try to communicate. The problem I have with the apps are, how do you know that your conversations haven't been recorded already and those specific words put into the database of the GhostTube app, and just like randomly click on those words that are most talked about between you guys or whoever you're talking to?
That's a great question, actually. We get that a lot because we mix it. We use both the apps and the analog technology to kind of verify those things. I think the short answer is, and again, there isn't something that's definitive. Everything kind of has its own up for interpretation kind of an element. From what I understand of how they work, it works very much similar to the Ovilus in that way, in that it is randomized. But I don't know enough about the technology to be able to explain that particular part of it. What I can do is, from our personal experience, just like this one with Deepak and a few others, that we've gotten verifiable information. That when we get these words, we'll record them, and then we'll see what we'll put together. And many times we have gotten entire storylines and words that were never repeated before.
Because these people aren't in our
right, the
databases
names,
or
and sometimes we'll get a word that only shows up in one investigation and never shows up again, and it's very specific to that individual. We've gotten when we started, we would get first and last names and places they lived, and then we would find obits, and then we would pull out things from the obits, and we would get verifications from those. So it's really been our experience that overall it's been a positive thing, and it's been, at least with the words that we've gotten and the stories we've been able to kind of glean from those words, have been fairly verifiable.
Yeah, because we were at a funeral home, and we were just opening it up just to see what we could get. And there was a lady that came through, and she talked about herself, her husband's name,
Right.
and a dog or something.
Right, and she
And
had
then-
died.
And she had died very brief. That was like a week or two later. We
Right,
found her
and
obit.
she was at the funeral home.
So it was interesting. I was like,
It was-
okay, because it wasn't a person I've ever talked to. We weren't having a conversation about it. We were just,
Right.
visiting. So.
So,
And it wasn't a name we had ever heard before come out of the app.
okay, so just so I get this straight, you guys capture names and dates and things about these supposed spirits that are coming through, and then you guys actually take the time to go and research everything that has been said on that GhostTube app, and you actually pair it up with things
Mhm.
that it fits and actually goes with.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what we do. Each one of those videos, there's hours of work that goes in behind them where we're trying to verify what we get. And we try to be sensitive with it because some of those people have living relatives and things like that, if we're correct in the connections we're making. But yeah, it's exactly what we do. We look through obits, which, think like the miracle of Google, kind of the information superhighway, you can find obits all over the place. And that doesn't mean we're able to, every single time we open it, we're able to get verifiable stuff. But most of the time we do. The other thing that we're also very careful with is we do know that the way that the apps work, that they can be influenced by external EMF. So we try to be very careful that they are as far away from technology as possible, and they're standing on their own to kind of minimize that kind of contamination of what may be coming out of it. Again, I don't know all the technicality of it, but that's been our experience.
Well, honestly, even if you missed something, the fact that you make the effort shows.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that making the effort in trying to verify what you're getting is very important. I mean, our intention is not to swindle anyone, and not to. We're not really here to convince people. We're really here just to be there for the entities and to help those who are experiencing that. And we want that to be as honest and authentic as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we tried a couple other apps, and they have been garbage.
Yeah.
They I absolutely been garbage. I won't mention which one they are, but they're not. And even some of the spirits have said, yeah, no, that's a toy.
Yeah, they got mad at it.
It's like,
Well, this is all new to me.
Part of your team.
It's just the two of us on our team.
Can I be a part of your team?
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And now they all three.
Just blow my mind for the simple fact that you take the time to verify it, where other people would be like, oh, well, I'm looking at his headstone right now and it just said his name. That's all the proof I need. I don't care about anything else. And then the whole night they're on that name's, oh, he just said jump. Oh, he just said heaven. Oh, he just said this. Oh, he just said that. And it's just
from here to heaven to get this from that.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
the fact that you guys take your time to do your research and to go over evidence with a fine-tooth comb, and it's just the two of you, I have found a complete new and uplifting respect for both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
We have to add one thing, because we had, remember the little boy? This is a sweet story. It's a sad story, but the little boy that visited us, and I found him at work.
Yeah.
He had, there was this little boy that came through, and he gave us, it wasn't the right name at first.
No.
You had a dream.
Right.
Because we do sometimes have some, I mean, we're not mediums, but we do have psychic abilities. And so a lot of them come to talk to me in dreams. And he had a dream.
I knew it.
Yeah.
And he had a dream about a little boy, and the boy was writing his name
in the sky.
And then I had woke, like a couple days later, I had a little boy's voice whisper in my ear. I was like, weird. And I didn't quite make out what he said. But then when we were opening up one time in our house, there was, I can't remember the whole story, but there was the name came through, and then we just were kind of like, okay, whatever. And then I was at work, and something just made me start looking up stuff on Google. Found the story of a little boy who had been murdered by his mother. She had drowned him and his brother, and it wasn't too far away, not too long ago. And the little boy, that was the second time his mother had tried to kill him. It was unsuccessful the first time, and then the second time she killed him.
Right. But I think what was important there is that he not only, we were able to verify the name, also the date of his death.
And then we got his picture.
And we got those, but that had all come through the ghost tube that had kind of told us some dates. The month had told us some about his age and where he lived and things like that.
And so then when we showed him the picture the next time because he was hanging out for a little bit,
mm-hmm.
He admitted that was him, and he didn't want to go. We kept telling him, you can go, you don't have to stay. But he had a lot of guilt, and he said there was a monster preventing him.
The one, I think, Cass.
Yeah. So it was sad, but I mean, it was interesting to find these people. I mean, these are people. They're just on a different plane.
And to give credit where credit's due, my wife is a great sleuth, and I really lean on her to really verify a lot of this stuff. So I mean, again, she does an absolutely fantastic job on it. So all that stuff out there, that's her.
Now, I don't know if you guys want your business out there or not, about what you deal with, if you catch my drift.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, we're not in any way ashamed of what we do. I mean, we know that there's going to be critics, and that's fine. I mean, the thing is that, everyone has different experiences. If you've never experienced the paranormal, you have a right to believe that doesn't exist. I'm not here to change your mind. I know it does from my own personal experiences. I have no doubt of that. And my wife's kind of the same way. So we don't have any, as I say, there's no shame in our game. There is really.
What I meant was, about certain disabilities of
Oh no, that's
other
fine.
people.
No, absolutely.
Okay, so
No shame in that either.
okay, so with you guys being autistic,
Yes.
including your children,
Yes.
so in my research, and I've researched this quite a bit because of my niece and nephew and certain things that they would pick up on in certain places, that the spirits of the paranormal realm, whether it be light or dark, they're able to communicate more with people with disabilities, such as autism or, just regular, mental retardation, or what's the other one? Well, anyway, with other mental disabilities.
Yeah.
And it's because they have more of a childlike mind. And, with the children have something special about them, that they're able to communicate with the spirits and see them more than a full-grown adult could, because the brain over the years just kind of loses the ability to, manifest and fabricate what they're actually seeing, which is where the legend comes in, that if a 2-week-old could talk, they would tell you everything there is to know about their past life.
Our son, he just gave us a past life experience. It was crazy. Like, he told us how he picked us.
Yeah.
Which was on accident.
Yeah.
He somebody else better, but fell into me. He was chasing somebody on a beach. Right. And he got distracted. He'd been following us for a while, and he was in the car with us. He described the car that we were in. It was crazy. Yeah. And then he goes, and then I kind of just, what do you say? He goes, I fell into you.
Yeah.
So it wasn't on purpose. That picked me.
Yeah.
Hyperdimensionally
to that point,
hyperdimensionally speaking,
autistic children and their paranormal experiences, it's very true. It's a documented thing that we who are on the spectrum tend to have more paranormal experiences, even especially when we're young, but throughout our lives. And that childlike quality, I think what it is that we see the world a little differently than neurotypicals, and part of that difference is that information is processed in a much more authentic way. There's a lot less social construct that surrounds the information as we take it in, which in a weird way makes you actually more receptive to seeing things that are paranormal, right? And especially remembering more out of the ordinary kinds of experiences and things like that. So, I mean, yeah, every autistic kid on the spectrum I've ever known, including myself and my wife, have had significant paranormal experiences. I think from that lack of social pollution a lot of times that comes with the information that we process. But I mean, just like the story my wife just mentioned about our son. I mean, we were sitting around and we were talking about another story. We were talking about another reincarnation story, and our son, our 5-year-old, he's just standing there, and he goes, "Oh, I remember how I became your And we went, what? And like, you do? And we were like, he goes, yeah, I followed you to a beach. He said, you followed us to a beach? What beach? And he said, the sand was over here and the water was here and you were walking along and there was play equipment. And we were like, what beach is that? Right? And we had, as he was telling us the story, we didn't remember being in this location at all. And he said, yeah. And we said, how did you find us at the beach? And he said, I followed you in a red car. Like, we don't own a red car. Like, oh, so we're kind of like, okay, well, maybe this is imagination. Then it dawned on me. We took a trip to, what beach was it?
It was Cambria.
Cambria? No, it was
no Pismo.
No, it wasn't Pismo.
I don't remember.
It was another beach. We had taken a trip with her parents just as she was newly pregnant with him, up and down the Central Coast. And one of the beaches we went to had a playground. And he said, yeah, I saw the two of you kiss on the beach, and I decided to follow you. And the car your parents had at that time was a red Jeep.
Yeah.
And he said, you were sitting in the back, Dad, and Grandma was up front driving. And we verified that entire story.
I went back through Facebook, looking through the pictures. I was like, oh, yeah, I was pregnant. That was the time.
Barely pregnant.
Yeah.
You were only a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And that happens more with autistic kids. They retain a lot more of their information. And I think that's mainly because there's a lot of older souls. That's just my opinion. Wound up on the spectrum. It's just, but
yeah, I could agree.
The two subjects actually intertwine. And if I may, for just 1 second, firstly, what you were mentioning before about how he accidentally fell into you, that's not supposed to happen. You know,
right.
So one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and this is very important for everybody, the mechanisms by which consciousness protrudes into this reality are a little broken right now. So we're getting accidents like that, you know, and that's okay. You know, that doesn't mean you are a cosmic accident.
No,
that's not what it means. So, and secondly, you were talking about neurotypicals and why neurotypicals and we see things very differently. There's actually a biological reason for that, and I've found that helping understand the origins for these things help us move forward and get past them. The reason why is because neurotypicals operate; they basically function through a measure of linear survival association. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
When they perceive something, if it's not an immediate threat or an immediate tool to get what they need, they just push it out of their mind.
Right.
People like us do not. You know what I mean? Where our glial cells just work differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now the beauty of it, and this is where I think both sides could come together. Humans are social creatures. Okay. The reason why some people are born different than others is so that the entire tribe can thrive. You know,
right.
That's why some people need a little bit meat, a little bit more meat. Some people need a little bit more veg, whatever. You know, it is together that we function perfectly.
Right. As a collective. Right. Right. And
Yeah.
that seems to be those of us on the spectrum. That seems to be our purpose in the tribe is we are the retainer of information. We are the ways of, we look at the world in a slightly different way and see angles that neurotypicals don't see and see patterns that they don't see. You know, we're not the best at, you know, social interactions. I get that, you know, and we kind of need some help with that. But as far as information and understanding some the very minute details of something, like you can't beat someone who's on the spectrum. Even those of us who are Asperger's, which is where we fall in too. It's just,
Aspies unite!
Right, yeah.
Now, the cool part is, the cool part is,
there are certain things of it I wouldn't change.
Now, the cool part is you just hit on please, 1 more second. You just hit on something that's very, very vital. And this is for the neurotypicals out there, right? I know we seem weird, but understand something. There's a survival reason for this. We can see the disruption in the long grass that means there's a tiger coming where you won't.
Right.
Because it's a disruption in the pattern. Okay. Right. These weird brains are not an accident. They purposely function within society. So be good to your Aspies.
All right. First of all, Mr. Cassidy, don't ever cut the host of this damn show off again.
Oops. Sorry.
Just playing, Haas. But, you know, I mean, autistic people, Down syndrome people are the most fascinating people that I have met. My nephew at 6 years old, and he was severely autistic. Like my son, he was nonverbal until he was 6. Well, my son's only 4 and still can't talk, but besides the point, he was able to completely take apart a CD player that my speaker was blown and the CDs wouldn't read. He was able to take it apart completely, somehow fixed my speaker and fixed the spot that the CD would run on, puts it back together, wakes me up at 3 in the morning and says, Uncle Bubba, Uncle Bubba. I said, what, dude? Go to bed. He goes, I fixed CD player. I said, dude, go to bed, man. You're full of crap. Go to bed. I don't care if you broke it.
And
No,
that's
no,
what
no. I fixed it. I fixed it. And he brings it into the living room where I'm sleeping in my recliner, plugs it in, puts a CD in, hits play, and I'll be damned if the CD player did not work better.
Wow.
But my speakers sounded way better.
That's cool.
That's
And
insane.
my sister's ex-boyfriend's kid is severely autistic. And at 11 years old, had the know-how to change his father's phone number to a Chinese phone number.
Oh my
That's-
gosh.
Now,
Crazy.
my 4-year-old son can run my phone better than I can.
Yeah, our sons too. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, fix this.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
beautiful minds in there. There really are beautiful minds that the world needs. Now, verbal or not, they have a distinct and important role to play. And
I think
the human family needs them.
that people with autism are actually on the spectrum of genius.
I
And
think many
that's why people fear autism. Oh God, my son's autistic. What do I do? He's mentally retarded. No, he's not. All that means is, yeah, he's going to be a little bit different, a little bit weird, but hey, weirdness is the first step of awesomeness, first of all.
Right.
And second of all, that kid is going to excel at something phenomenal, whether it be electronics, whether it be medium, empath, psychic, because with autism, I have found that they find one thing that they are really, really good at. Like Melissa just said, her brother is autistic and is good with numbers.
Yeah.
My nephew was always good with electronics. I mean, he can play games like crazy. He wants to be a YouTuber. And he can fix pretty much any electronic, take it apart, figure out its mechanism, fix it, put it back together, and there you go. It's just phenomenal what an autistic person can do put next to a regular minded person, because that autistic person is going to dance fucking circles around them.
Yeah.
I always say you have a beautiful brain.
Every autistic person, I think we have our thing. It's our thing, and there is no one better at our thing than us. And that's
exactly.
That's kind of the narcissism, I guess, to it. But no, the thing that each autistic person picks, they will understand it to its nuance all the time, and they will. It's our escape. It's where we feel our joy is in dealing with the very minute part of this thing that we really love. For me, it's history. For my wife, it's words and writing and research. I can't find anybody who's better at it than her. And it's crazy how it's almost like God gave you a specialization, and that specialization is really your thing. And dealing with our sons and trying to find their thing. Like our youngest, it's science. He loves animals. His entertainment, his happy place is watching his tablet and doing animal videos and with zoologists and things all the time. With our oldest son, the strange thing was it was people.
He loves studying
people.
He's an autistic who loves people.
Yeah.
Like, you help us out there.
So, every autistic kid, I mean, and I'm not dissing other disabilities. I mean, but every autistic person has something significant to contribute to the human family. And I think that it's important to get that out there and that people engage with that in a more honest and unreserved way. We're autistics are not, we're not as judgmental as people think. I mean, we may say some off-color things, but we're really not that judgmental, and we'll take you as you come. We're not,
Along those lines, can I share something that could be offensive? And I want to get your guys' opinion on it.
Sure.
Okay. So my people in our observation of your species have been very, very confused about something. I've noticed that you what you guys call Down syndrome is considered a disability and things like that. The way we perceive things, and this might not really function here in this world, but the way we perceive things, like Down syndrome kids, Asperger's, other things, essentially, it's not disabled. It's just different. And going back to incidents, look up in the 1500s, there was a monk, and if you look at the descriptions, the dude, he was definitely had Down syndrome. The thing is, this monk could fly. And the thing about it is that this was not considered a miracle by the other monks. They were actually kind of embarrassed because he was so simple that he would fly up but then forget how to get down. So his brothers would have to come and get him over and over and over again. And I guarantee you, look it up at home too.
So Melissa. Sorry, bud. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So the thing. So my theory is, and I want your guys' opinion on this, is that in the case of this monk, what these kids are seeing, what these people are seeing, is just a radically high resolution picture of light. Light, love, things like that. There's nothing more loving on this world than a Down syndrome kid. Would you guys agree?
Definitely.
Absolutely. I think, for me personally, the word disability is more of a social construct than any kind of scientific or hard reality.
Right.
Certainly isn't. It's a set of socially acceptable norms.
Right.
But what really is a norm? I mean, those have always fluctuated and changed depending on culture, depending on time period. I mean, that construct is malleable. So, I mean, can you really say honestly that the term normal really has any true meaning? To me, it really doesn't. And I think that the idea of different is probably closer to what it is. But human beings come in all shapes and sizes, mentally as well as physically. And that variety, that diversity is what makes the human species healthier. But to describe it as a disability is more of a social construct than it is anything that's based in reality. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Thank you. That sheds a little bit of light on things. See, where I'm from, like that, they would be a kind of shaman. So like we're trying to understand the situation.
Yeah.
But then again, we consider dolphins human, so maybe we need more
I would too.
Okay, see, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking like zoologically human, but still human.
Mm-hmm. Right. And there's a difference. There's a spiritual and psychological part to the human consciousness that is different from our bodies. Our bodies are just simply suits we need to live on this planet. Who we really are is far different. Far different.
Corey, I could sit here and listen to you preach it, brother, for hours.
Well, thanks.
You need to be the social butterfly for your team.
He's social
And
Mothra.
that's kind of how we've done that. I mean, Missy's she's much more comfortable in the behind the scenes work than I am, and so we make a good team that way. I lean on her for the very kinds of things that she's good at, and then I kind of do my thing with it too. It's why in a lot of the videos I'm the one in front of the camera. That's not because I like being there. It's because she's more comfortable handling that part of it. That's why I always try to mention her. I always say, hey, the one behind the camera is.
Okay, so she's the boss of the operation. You're just a
She
pretty face.
is. Yes, she is. She absolutely is. Because she's the one
She's
who's like, hey,
prettier,
we
though.
have
You
a
should know.
investigation today. And I get kind of grumpy, like, oh,
He's
okay,
my
well,
star. So.
I'm not a star.
So
But
with your team, do you guys have any experience in the residential field?
we
Only
ha-
ours.
oh yeah, only our own home, and that's kind of the experience we're trying to gain. That the advice you gave earlier is going to be very helpful with, because there's only so much you can do if you're going out and doing public venues and things like that. The intimate space is where a lot of haunting issues kind of take place, and it's where you do, I think, the most good. That's where you can do the most help to someone. So our goal is to gain that experience, but so far, other than our own home, we haven't gotten to that point yet. So, I mean, I don't know if you would agree.
Yeah.
But that's where we want to go. That's like that is our end goal, is for people to call us to.
Okay. So with the commercial buildings and places you guys have done, what all commercial buildings have you done since you've been a team?
Well, really, most of what we've done has been more in public space. Because again, in the valley, people are very closed off to this kind of thing. They don't like to discuss it.
Yes.
And so what we've done to kind of get our experience out there, and to put our kind of our what we're about to out into our local community. We've gone to at least to the exteriors of the more famous haunted locations. Like one of my favorites, and the one that made me the most nervous, was St. John's Cathedral down in downtown Fresno. That has the spirit of a monk who was, or not a monk, nun that was there, which we did not connect with. We connected with someone else who was there. We've never had a problem, whether we're outside of a location or we're inside of it, to really, that communication has never been an issue. We've been able to connect with things even on the other side of a wall. I guess for the spirits, those things, they only have symbolic meaning. They don't have a physical meaning to them.
Right, right.
Time. It's all about vibration. It's all about vibration. This is why walls can contain some spirits but not others, and this is why a closed or open door will matter to some spirits and not others. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's all, and this is me scientifically backing you up, by the way.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah.
So how exact far are you guys willing to travel in a north, south, east, and west direction?
Really, the only thing that limits us is the availability of someone to watch our kids, in that time period. But other than that, we're willing to go anywhere, to be of help.
Well, I should say
a little more local right now, but I mean
that you can afford to go to. So like if you have, there's a place that's 75 miles to 100 miles west of you, and it's a commercial building, but you want to get into it and investigate. If you can land that investigation, would you be willing to travel that distance just to investigate it?
Yes, that is absolutely something we'd be willing to do.
Okay, a max limit on miles that you guys would be willing to travel at this particular point in time?
Oh, that would be within, we would have to be able to be home within that day. So within a few hours, I would say 4 to 6 hours distance of travel time that we could do right now. We are hoping to expand that very shortly.
Trying to get a babysitter. It's hard.
I think what Brian's trying to say is we're getting the band back together and we're looking for a few good guys. Do I got
Well-
that about right, Brian? Uh-oh, I think I pissed him off.
Uh-oh.
I'm good at that.
No, I mean, traveling is you can't. Again, the area we live in is really closed off generally culturally to these kinds of things. And hey, hey, thank you. So we have to be able to expand out more and more to gain that experience, because there are regional culture is very different, from place to place in California. Some places are much more open to these things, and other places are not. So
Yeah, I
can
don't-
verify that.
I just kind of slide it in once in a while and see what I see. What
There's
response.
there's a reason that I've asked these specific questions, and I won't let the reasoning be known on camera until the next time I have you guys on the podcast.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
But just know,
Now I'm going to be wondering.
just know that after this podcast, we, meaning the four of us, need to have a very serious conversation, because what I am going to suggest is going to extremely, I think, benefit Forget Me Not Paranormal.
Well, thank you for even considering us.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I said, you guys, wow, that is wet for some reason. Okay. You guys are trying your best to get out and help people. And, you need that little bit of help, a little bit of push in the right direction to get your guys' career started. Because right now, what you guys are doing is, you're going to the cemeteries and you're going to the outsides of places, which is great. See, what that's doing is you're homing in your skills.
Right.
You're getting yourself seasoned up a little bit before you take on these residentials,
Right.
before you take on these commercial buildings. You're starting to learn the ins and outs, the do's, the don'ts, the what to say and what's not to say of the field.
Right.
And most people don't do that.
We don't.
Yeah, don't do what I did.
I don't want to hurt anyone, and I don't want to unintentionally do anything. That's always been my biggest thing. I don't want to hurt people, ourselves, the spirits. I want to do this in a safe and productive way. I mean, we're not here to hurt people. And I think that's
because most people that start a team are so gung-ho that they'll just hop to any residential or commercial place that'll accept them. And then they go to town not knowing what's in that house or building,
right,
and potentially putting themselves in grave danger.
Right. And I think
And
that's
that's
a good
why
point.
you need Lions Pride Security.
Yeah. I think it's a very good point, Brian. Is that there is a this idea that you can just dominate the paranormal, and you cannot. You really have to understand what you're dealing with, and you really have to have a healthy respect for the other side and those who are remaining and those you're communicating with. If you don't, you do that at your peril. And if you think you know everything, well, you've already lost it, because there's never a time that you will not learn something new. So, if you dive into this head first, you don't know how deep the pool is, and you don't know what's going to happen. So
Exactly.
it's kind of our point. My wife and I've talked about, this year is really heavy duty in research and practice and attempting to understand what we're dealing with and talking to people. I mean, one of the difficult things about this is that there isn't a class, a symposium, or a textbook on
No,
any
we've
of it.
been reaching out to mediums
We're working
and
on it.
demonologists. The one that you had on,
Yeah.
Damon, the demonologist, contacted him. I mean, whoever is willing to feed me, I'm hungry for information. So
And you see, what I did in the paranormal field when I first started the team is when the shows first came out, you know, and as corny and as, you know, at the time I thought was real, but came to the realization that 98% of them are bullshitters. But where people would watch the show, I would sit there with a pen and a pad and I'd be taking notes.
Right.
And I probably had 4 to 6 notebooks, 180 pages apiece, front to back, filled with different techniques, different questions, the do's, the don'ts, the respect, the disrespect. And, you know, we were all sitting around watching Cops, of all things. We are avid Cops fans around here. And me and my buddy Rick, who's like a brother to me, I've known him since we were 15, and my other buddy DJ, who is my sister's ex-husband, were just sitting around in the living room bullshitting, and it came up, you know, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we started our own team? And I said, you know what? That's not a half bad idea. You know, because I've always had the niche in me that I need to help people. Whether it be financially, whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, I need to help people. And, you know, I was like, with my knowing, I could help people with their paranormal activity. Well, we have an update.
Speaking to what you were talking about before about, oh, sorry, Asperger's.
But, you know, when we first got serious about it, you know, we sat around the table in the back of the apartment and we were like, okay, well, we all agree that we want to be investigators. You know, we brought our buddy John into it, and you're like, okay, well, every team has to have a name. So what are we going to name our team? So we threw around some names. The most silliest and stupid name that we came up with was Ghost Bumps.
Brian, to hear you say
And I fell out of my chair laughing at that one. And you know, we finally came up and decided that we would stick with the name Spoke. Not even a month before we had our name and were ready to go out and start putting actions to work, we got our first investigation. So I'm ready. I have the know-how and the knowledge from all the notes, but my teammates, they only watch shows. So it was trying to teach my team inside of an investigation the do's and the don'ts and the what ifs and, you know, what questions to ask and everything else. And at the same time, you know, this was probably, I'd say, the most haunted residential we ever did in our 8 years. And we're seriously rocking for equipment 3, flip phones. That's it. 10 minutes of recording, 10 minutes going back. But we captured so many Class A EVPs from that investigation that we could unfortunately not save or keep. Now, luckily, our buddy Trevor, who became our equipment tech, came in like our third or fourth investigation and brought in, camcorder and EMF and digital recorders, and we were actually able to document some of the stuff that was going on in there. So it's always nice to know. Oh, this is great.
He's like, what?
So it's always nice to know, a little bit of what you're doing before you step foot into an investigation, whether it be residential, commercial, or cemetery for that matter.
Right.
So you guys are definitely going about it the right way. And I'm very impressed.
Thank you very much.
That.
We appreciate that. And she puts a lot of hard work into it. Hey, Cass.
I've been waiting for a chance to cut in here. Something that you guys mentioned about how you look, there's like you look for like or not being prepared and things like that. Something that I've been trying to sort of add in and help is we've been running a program where we teach humans to use our technology very, very successfully. It's completely free. The main problem that we keep having is every time we try to start up the academy again, some Yahoo comes along and says, "No, you have to teach my spirituality," and it gets into a big thing. But the what I'm trying to say is there are people out there that teach these things, and if you don't want to pay, you don't have to. There's a lot of people that they'll run an academy, for $39.95, we'll teach you the secrets to the universe. But for every one of those guys, there's 5 people that are willing to teach for free.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah, and that's kind of something we toyed around with too, with the idea of, once we feel that we've gathered enough here, and we feel like maybe the rudimentary understanding of of how things work, and what would be some practices that people could use, and things to kind of put that together in some sort of a work that we could, even if we self-publish, to kind of help other people along if they found it valuable. Because there isn't like a one-stop or a general like manual of some kind to kind of explain some of these experiences and equipment that you use and what you should do. There's some things written. It's all varies in its quality, but it's kind of something we've toyed around with once we feel we've gathered enough. But
speaking of a one-shop manual, I believe Eldon has something to say about this.
Really,
Mr. Eldon?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, man. I wasn't really listening there. I was getting my attention drawn over here.
They're talking about how we need like a one-shop like manual for everyone to go to and learn. Eldon, would you like to say something?
You mean kind of like what I'm working on at the moment, right?
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's work in progress, guys. I mean, it's going to take quite a while to do. I was hoping I was going to be able to get done with it a lot sooner than I'm going to, but this thing is so involved that, I've had things hit me on it that's completely unexpected, but I'm definitely working on it.
Yeah, but that's exactly the kind of thing. I think if it's something, reputable, good information that gives good foundation for anyone who's starting out in the to utilize, to fall back on, in order to develop their own unique way of investigating. But they need some foundational information that they can build upon. And the interesting thing too about it has to be my spirituality, like Cass. We're unapologetically Christian, but I mean, one of the interesting things about it is, and we definitely put our spirituality into this, but Christianity has really killed a lot of this metaphysical information, and so we really do. Hey, we really.
That's an exact number.
very open-minded in learning from, especially faith traditions that have spent more time on studying this kind of tradition, Wiccans and other people who have more whose faith traditions have more information on them. So no one religion or faith tradition has a monopoly on information on any of this.
Exactly.
It's a collective. Right. And so, I always had more of an openness to it, but my wife came from a much more evangelical background. And we're both Episcopalian, about to be Roman Catholic.
Jehovah's Witness. I feel you.
We've talked about this. She shows us, is it okay if I do this? I said, absolutely. Talk to someone who's a Wiccan, because that faith tradition has spent more time in dealing with these metaphysical things that are absolutely real. So you have to be open-minded, and you really have to expand your spirituality a little bit when you start engaging with these things. I know you've said...
Oh, it's blown my mind.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Before we go any further, guys, Donna Lynn, good night, everyone. Hello from Toronto, Canada.
Bye.
Well, good night, Donna Lynn. Melissa Ewing, is Eldon a twin? No, him and Jason are both ugly enough to look alike.
Just two toes in the same sock.
Just look at the glasses. You see what happens, guys, when you insult me and my brother here? People just seem to disappear. So.
Well, you are out in the desert.
Mason says he's with Crossover Paranormal. That's awesome.
Hello, Mason.
Donna says, hi, guys. And Mason says, much love, everyone.
Much love to you.
All right. So with everything that we've discussed tonight, is there anything you would like to add or say, how to get a hold of you guys, your Facebook, your YouTube, or anything like that before we close the show?
Sure. I mean, the primary way is...
Our YouTube is Forget Me Not Paranormal.
Right.
And then we do have a very small Facebook, and it's, again, Forget Me Not Paranormal.
Yeah.
We do have TikTok, and that also is Forget Me Not Paranormal. So.
And we do check these things on a regular basis. So if anyone shoots us a question through there, we will be happy to give our personal emails, phone numbers. Let us know, and we'll see if we can help.
Is your phone number, in fact, 867-5309?
Not yet, but I've been looking for that one. Jenny's a little hard to get a hold of.
Yes, she is. I've been trying to get a hold of her for years. I was going to ask her out on a date. But, I got married and had kids, and now Jenny's just shit out of luck.
Right. She missed
well, that's
train.
because Jenny got a gun.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Cats, did you know that there's love in an elevator?
Yeah.
Also, did you know that I'm back in black?
I'm back! Yeah. That was Aerosmith just to mess with you. I have this thing about song shoes.
Cass, come on and feel the noise.
Girls, rock your boys.
And we can take a dark side to the moon.
Okay, you win. I don't have anything for that one. I suddenly can't remember the lyrics. You win. I get lost at hello, hello, hello. Can I have a cheese and French fries?
Oh, cheese and French fries sound so good right now. You're an ass cat.
It's munchy time.
All right. Donna wants to know, you guys go to people's homes?
We would love to.
We would love to. We have not yet done that. Yes, but that's where we're trying to go.
And Mason says, Brian James, we will be going live on Jonathan Meyer's Facebook page. It'll be a live investigation, brother.
That's awesome.
Mason, what time does the live investigation start so I can advertise the shit out of it? And he says, much love, Eldon. Donna wants to know, have you had experience?
We've had just the experience we've done this year on the types of investigations we spoke about, where it's been at locations outside of them and public locations. But beyond that, and our home, we've done it in our home, but we are trying to expand on that.
Nice. So, I haven't got to ask you guys this question yet, but we'll start off with Haas over here.
Okay.
God, looking at you two baldies makes me want to go in and shave my.
You see what happens every time they disappear, right?
Okay, it's starting to mess with my head. Is your name really Haas?
Hey, I was trying to pay you guys a compliment. You guys make me want to go in and shave my head. God, we're going to be in Arizona walking around together. People are going to think we're part of the freaking Aryan Brotherhood or something.
Oh, Joe.
Good Lord.
Donna is mentioning something about living in a haunted house. If you need assistance, you feel free to ask. I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to build here with Global Paranormal, right? I mean,
Yes.
if you've got a problem, we'll solve it. We'll get the ghost, and you don't have to revolve it. I'll think of better rhymes later, but you get the point,
Yeah.
Donna says, what I experienced, they love.
That
Honestly,
could go two different ways, man. Are you all right?
Donna, if you're having experiences and you're filming it, or you're a paranormal investigator, or just want to tell your story or find help, I'd love to have you on the podcast. I think it would be a phenomenal segment. She says, I have a couple haunted friends already.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
So, Hawk, with you, my friend, what was your first experience with the paranormal, and what made you want to get into the field?
Well, I think my most significant one was actually, there had been ones before this point, but the most significant one was when I was probably 13, and we moved into a home that had a figure that was pitch black that would come out of our closet in my brother and I's room and tormented us for years. Later found out it was a shadow person. It followed us to another house that shared a property line, and did that until I was a freshman in high school when I moved out. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s that my brothers and I were all sitting in a family Christmas, and the story came out. And I found out that my siblings had saw the same thing for years. Before that, I had a little boy who visited me when I was probably about 5, who used to play with me in an apartment or a house that we lived in Ontario in Southern California, or in Glendora. That was in Glendora. And after that, I had an incident at my grandparents' house where something trapped me in a room by moving furniture while I was asleep. So I've had a lot of those things. And then as an adult, I've continued to have all kinds of different experiences that have been more than enough evidence for me that the paranormal and spirits exist. So I have no doubt on them.
Okay. All right. Donna says, the person you really need is to contact my friend Trudy Morgan in Brandon, Manitoba, Canada. She has them.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Donna, find me in Messenger under Brian James. And yeah, I'd be more than happy to get her on Facebook, and yeah, podcasts, swap it stories. It would be awesome.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what about you, Melissa? What was your first experience, and why did you choose to get into the field?
I had experiences here and there as a kid, but we were always told that they were not ghosts and they were demons, so we were to stay away from that stuff. So
Absolutely, Donna. Sorry.
and then when we moved into an apartment and our son was just born, we heard a knock at the door that sounded like an officer. It was like at what, 2 in the morning?
It was at
I was
2:30 in the
laying on the
morning.
couch trying to sleep while he was with the baby, and of course I just froze. And then I started yelling. I was like, Corey, Corey. So he comes up and the dogs are barking and they're looking at something. And then he opens the door and there's nobody there. And you hear this voice that's like floating off. And it's like, what is
Is
it?
Jerry
Is
home?
Jerry home? And we're in a gated community. There's nobody there. And so I was like, he took a second. All of a sudden he comes back. He goes, do you know what just happened? He was like, that was a ghost. So I ended up talking to the neighbor who worked as a maintenance worker in our apartment complex. And I said, has there been any like strange experiences that you've heard of? And he's like, oh yeah, this used to be a retirement home connected to the church. And it was an old man voice. And so I was like, oh, and he goes, and yeah, actually your apartment, he goes, I had a friend who lived there. And he goes, it was about 20 years ago, but her son used to talk to somebody in the bedroom, and she used to have a lot of strange experiences. And I was like, oh my gosh, because our son was seeing things and we were seeing things out of the corner of our eye. And so after that, we moved to another apartment, had more experiences, and moved to this apartment, and it just exploded with that top hat man coming to, to our son, to us. I saw him at the bed staring at me. I thought it was my husband. He came into the living room. I thought it was my husband. So it's always been something, things crashing, plates breaking, no one's around. And so finally we were like, let's just see what's going on. And that's what started it. So
I think one of the things that I know was a motivation for me to start making this more of a formal investigation team is as a kid experiencing those things and not having anyone to talk to. And like I said, my brothers and I were experiencing the same thing, and none of us even spoke to each other about it. And there was no one to turn to. And so I just wanted to create something that, would be what I would have wished was there for me when I was young. So that's
I'm assuming when you were young, you were probably young in the early 80s to mid 80s, correct?
Yeah. Born 79.
You don't look to be more than 35 to 38 years old.
I wish. No. 42.
How old are you, Hoss? You're 42? That's not bad. I'm 38 and I look like I'm 50, but that's another time for another story. Yeah. But what people have to realize is from way back in the day until about the mid to late 80s, early 90s, the paranormal was considered taboo.
Totally, yeah.
You didn't talk about it. You didn't shout about it. No. You didn't bring it up for fun. No. People that brought it up would get in trouble, get called liars, crazy, this, that, and the other. And so, nobody ever brought it up and talked about it. The only people that were bringing it up and talking about it at the time were a handful of little investigating teams, like the Warrens.
Right.
And other than that, nobody really brought it up.
No. It was a hush subject. I mean, people didn't want other people to think that they were nuts. And so, they're all like, well, you're having hallucinations. There's always some sort of excuse for it. And, you start telling yourself
the enemy's weapon.
Right. And I remember thinking when I saw the shadow person, my mom, when I tried to broach the subject with her, and she said, "Oh, it's just a trick of your eyes." And so I remember telling myself that all the time. I was like a mantra when I would see it. I was like, "Oh, it's just a trick of my eyes. It's a trick of my eyes," but it wasn't.
Don wants to know: have you ever used a spirit box or any other equipment?
Yes, we got a spirit box. We also use, as far as the analog thing, spirit box, K2 meter. We also have a voice recorder. And we have the camcorder with the microphone. And we catch EVPs on our microphone quite often. Organic ones that don't come through the Ghost Tube or any of the other apps.
So what all do you guys rock for equipment right now? Like everything you have in your arsenal?
We have not only the apps, but like I said, we have the K2 meter, this pretty standard analog one that's great. We have a digital voice recorder. We have the camera, the camcorder, along with LiDAR and everything else we use there.
The
And
spirit box,
we have
and
a
we got a
spirit-
REM pod.
And we have a REM pod, yes,
Yeah.
that we use.
Okay, Donna wants to know, what have you caught? Have any stay or follow you?
Do tell.
We have had them follow us.
We try to always, we do an opening and a closing.
We have a ritual we do with
Yeah.
that, where we do saging and incensing and things like that. But we've had them come at least to the area where we are, and they've told us,
Yeah.
from the cemetery.
Yeah.
And we've gotten those same names, and we've been able to verify some of those stories. We have, most of what we've captured has been audible. It's audio-based things. Even the EVPs, the organic MVPs, are audio. But we have had a couple of visual catches.
A black shadow telling me to F you as it went across my stomach. And then we had that little silvery, I don't know, like how you would, it's not an orb. It was like a silver thing.
Top of somebody's head.
Walking past the fence line, because they told us they were coming in through the fence and coming into our home,
Right.
they were taking turns talking. And then we did catch, I was like, what is that? So we were able to slow it down and be like, whoa, that is someone.
Donna says, you guys be amazing for Canada hauntings. We have a lot here.
We'd love to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
love Canada.
See, I think that's the beauty of what global is trying to accomplish here is basically, you're talking about hauntings in Canada and all these different things. We are trying to get it to where whatever you got going on, we've got a team for you.
Right.
So got that about right, Brian? Do I understand?
And she also wants to know, have you caught any colored orbs?
I get strange about orbs because I don't want to say something is when it could be something that's not. So I'm going to say there's been some strange things we've caught, but because I'm not willing to go out and be like, yeah, I think that is.
Right.
I don't,
Would it help if whatever you say, I've got you covered with physics?
Yeah.
Would that help you open up the stories? Because I got you covered.
Yeah, the orbs, we've got some ones we can't really understand, what the source of it was. But, generally we're really careful with orbs because they can be a lot of other things, like dust, bugs, things like that. You really have to pay attention to how they move and where they came from to see if you can verify them. I would say probably about a dozen or so where you really ever like, that's weird.
And I'll always ask him, I'm like, what do you think? He's like, no, don't, because we can't.
We can't verify it.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you at home who might be having hauntings, okay, if you can't feel any heat coming from the orb, you're safe. Worst thing you can do is watch you in the shower.
Donna says she has two with me. That is a child and an older lady.
Oh, wow.
All right, guys. Final question before we end the podcast tonight. With you guys being new to the paranormal field, what would you guys say, about a year old?
About that.
In March 2nd.
Yeah, March.
That was the first day we opened up an app and tried it. So.
Okay. Well, you guys being almost a year old, what are you hoping to accomplish in the paranormal field in the upcoming years of your team?
Our personal goal really is to gather do more study, and really become more educated and proficient in identifying different spirits, and developing a practice that can successfully deal with those things that we may encounter.
And if we can't do it, have people that we know that can.
Right, develop those relationships.
Yeah.
So on that note, have you guys considered making contact with, for example, Native American shamans, Shinto priests, things like that?
We would like to. We're trying to figure out.
We're looking for them.
Yeah.
We've looked through, some things, our local tribes, the Itachi Yokuts, and things that there are sites here that people want to talk about that have some Native American history to them. One of them we've investigated, Lost Lake, that has a lot of Native American activity there. Some are receptive. We haven't quite been able to get to that point yet, but we're working on that. We're also trying to find some people who have some Wiccan background, who have higher level understandings of different types of spiritual entities that could be made from conjurings and things like that. Because those entities, if they were made from that kind of a practice, that's what they respond to more. So, anything that we wouldn't be comfortable ourselves doing, we want to be able to offer people someone who will do that.
Right.
Yeah, and we're working a lot with understanding different forms of demonology and what types of demons you may, or what types of negative entities you may be able to you encounter, how you identify those things. There's a lot of study this year and making connections.
And collecting objects and working with them to know how to contain them and what to do with them. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Nice. Well, Donna says, thanks for accepting me to watch tonight. Your show is amazing.
Thank
Well,
you,
Donna.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Both of you guys.
Awesome.
Yahweh Lucky Lucifer says, I love listening to you guys. However, I'm going to go do my thing and be my love myself. LOL. Take care, guys. Great show. Thank you very much for your support. That's awesome. And Donna says, have an amazing night plus tomorrow and your week ahead. Stay safe and warm over there.
Oh, yeah. 51 degrees will be good.
Thank you, Donna.
We'll definitely stay warm and cozy, Donna, for sure. All right. Forget me not. It comes that time when we have to unfortunately end the podcast.
Thank you.
So I'm going to put you guys in the back. For now, please don't hang up or go anywhere because we have a discussion.
Just a little one.
It was a pleasure to have you guys on the show.
Thank
and
we appreciate it.
Yes.
It was our honor and privilege. You guys are amazing folks.
Oh, thank you.
And we look to take two. We look forward to having you guys on our podcast again really soon.
We look forward to it too.
Nice
Thanks,
meeting
Brian.
you, Cass, too.
And nice meeting you, Cass.
Nice meeting you guys too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Cass. Well, I'd say tonight was a pretty big success.
Yeah. If I could learn and not stop interrupting, it would be even better.
Yeah. Don't cut off the host, you dick.
Sorry. I'm getting there.
Now to move on to our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, ShadowZone and Global United Paranormal Foundation is sponsored by Ghost Energy Drink. If you're in the paranormal field doing an investigation and you feel low on energy, just grab yourself a ghost and bring your spiritual energy soaring back up. And also, folks, if you are tired of all the Facebook drama and tired of Facebook scrutinizing you because you're a paranormal investigator or have anything to do with the paranormal in general, I have one simple solution for you. And that is to go to your app store and in that little search bar, type in Parapost Network, and you'll see this little sign right here. Download the app. It runs on Android. It runs on Apple iOS. You can get it on your laptop, and you can get it on your computer. What Parapost is a Facebook/YouTube-like atmosphere, but it's specifically geared towards investigators and anything that has to do with the paranormal, including paranormal enthusiasts. And the best part is it's 100% drama free. So you can show your evidence, you can do whatever you want and not have to worry about 500 other people telling you that you're full of crap or crazy or whatever. And if you don't want the app, or you can't download apps on your older PCs or older laptops, Well, there's a simple solution for that too. All you got to do is just type in parapost.net and start your account for free right now. Well, Cass, I don't know about you, but I am ready to call it a night and go talk to our buddies a little bit.
I want ice cream.
Me too. So from all of us
Good
here
show.
at ShadowZone, we salute you. Have a ghoulishly good night, a hauntingly good day, and remember to come check us out every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you could, please just do us one small favor. That's all I ask, is just hit the like and subscribe button. Show your support for ShadowZone, and we will not ever let you down or disappoint you. Nighty night, folks.